up, Squiddo? Happy New Year! So here, this is my build that I did, the Glacial Hammer thingy, you know. So I made a video where I went over did an overview and just talked about the build, and I wanted to make a separate video where I actually go over the gear and what's the idea behind what we're doing and why I have certain items and what priorities you should pick or I picked stuff on. So that if you actually want to play this, if you want to build this, then you have an idea what the hell is going on with this build. Alright, so this is the bad boy. First of all, oh yeah, before we start, very important, this build, the end result here I put together is very expensive. If you want to play it, it's gonna be very expensive. And I mean, just like, let's go over the pricing first so you have like at least an idea. So this, when I bought, was like 20x for divines. We have divines now. So 20 divine omniscience, a couple of divines. I have no idea how much this cost, honestly. This was like 5, 6, and then I had to link it. Dirt cheap. I don't know, 1 divine maybe. This was 1 divine. This one, I don't know honestly how much would that cost, but I mean, you can say divine, maybe couple, maybe divine couple for these, and then 2 expensive pieces to craft, because I crafted these on my own. You can't buy these. Minimum frenzy charges. Implicit, you can buy decently one crafted one, so I had to craft this. Crafting 5 to 20 divines probably to craft this. And I also bought this base. This base was like 10 divines, but you don't need that good of an implicit. Then crafting also 10 to 30 divines to craft this, honestly. Probably, just depends on how lucky you are with the stuff you get, right? And then of course, you will need to also calculate into your budget to Watcher's Eye. I don't actually remember how much was it, but it was divines multiple, maybe 10, I don't know, because the gain on hit is good, and that's what we need as well. And then this cluster jewel actually also cost a little bit less than 10 divines for me when I bought it, and this is cheap, 1 divine. So very expensive build. I invested a lot to it. Actually did have fun. So that was the pricing, quite a lot actually. So now that you know how much this costs, this bad boy costs, you're prepared. Then let's talk about the gear and why I picked the pieces that I have. Actually didn't show the jewel as well. There was these ones also cost like 10 divines. Anyway, so let's start with the omniscience, right? So good for damage, and that's about it. That's about it. Just good damage item, I guess. And I think you can get more damage if you don't pick omniscience. If you just go regular amulet, I believe you could get more damage. But I picked omniscience specifically for a combo wombo of gear. So we have an omniscience, and why this combo wombo works is the fact that omniscience basically takes away all your strength, and basically takes away your strength, right? So since we don't get any bonuses from strength anyway, it makes sense to use brass drone, right? Because this also provides no bonus to maximum life from strength. So okay, we lost already that with omniscience, so they go work together. And now, since we're using brass drone, we take no damage from crits, and we get +5 maximum elemental resistances. Really good. It's like 20% elemental damage reduction, and we get shit ton of armor. Okay, so okay, we got some defenses back. Okay, that's cool. And now the third piece that goes together well with talking about defenses for this build is the unbreakable, right? So with this passive, 8% of our armor is applied to elemental damage, and armor from body armor is doubled. Since brass drone has 4000 armor, a badass amount of armor, it works really well because we got the high bonus from this cluster node. It's from Juggernaut. From this cluster node, we get a little bonus from our armor, and then Brass Drone also gives 5% to elemental resistances, which makes our armor even more efficient when it's applied to the elemental damage. Alright, so that's our defenses. This is where like a lot of flat, high elemental resistances, and then apply armor as well, and so it means that we can take a lot of hits, a lot of small hits that don't hurt at all. But like I mentioned in the previous video, it does open up vulnerabilities for high damage hits. Okay, so that's our main defenses. So Brass Drone with Unbreakable. So we're using Omniscience for damage. And so what's up with the mace? Why we're using Frost Breath, the mace, right? So what's good about it? It's pretty bad, right? If I look at the stats, which is 231 elemental DPS, or just DPS in general, it's complete shit, right? But this is the best item slot we can get for this particular build that I put together. I tried to PoB a better mace, just like a perfect mace. It's not better than this one. This base is better than a perfect mace, basically. So what's the upsides? What's the downsides, right? If you look at the mace, what the big takeaway from this is that attacks with this weapon deal double damage to chilled enemies. So we chill because we use Glacial Hammer, cold damage. We chill stuff, right? So that's out. If we put that out of the way, then we can assume that we deal double damage to everything, which is pretty badass. So that's the upside, big upside, and that's what we're playing on here. So we deal double damage, but the downside of this weapon is obviously it has very low damage and just in general DPS, right? What that means is that any added damage is good because it will get doubled. Any added damage will get doubled, right? So it's very good to on your build to put in added damage. It's very efficient. That's why this amulet, just in general, the implicits are really good for this one. I got really lucky with those. But in general, the adds 25 to 31 damage, and then the increased cold damage. I think it was like 20 or 30% more damage. Items, ring. Let's see. This gives 20% more damage. So it's very good for this item slot to use this item, 20% more damage, from this item. And of course the implicits help, but they're not the biggest part of the damage increase. And for this particular setup, we actually need that 25 increased mana reservation efficiency, right? If we don't have it, it's 34 mana. Actually, you might get away with 34 because we have a lot of mana regeneration. But I mean, I have it, and it's not a big deal. I think it's better to have a little bit more mana. Okay, so this ring, very good for damage and helps out with our mana reservation efficiency a little bit. We need that. Pretty cool. And like I mentioned, let's get to Flask, I guess, later then. Now, what's left is our rare items. That's what left is our rare items, right? For me, I use the ring for chaos resistance and stats, obviously, plus life, general ring, and I'm just gonna mention that I am chaos resistance capped barely. I have like 3 leftover chaos resistance. That's why the gear pieces that I have are very high chaos resistance. That I've particularly chosen that, so I can cap chaos resistance and click, for example, on the Exarch altars for chaos resistance, for extra physical damage, extra chaos. Right? We can click those with these, and I feel totally safe. Chaos damage, no problem. Right, so that's why it's high roll. I got the ring honestly like first week of the league. Was not expensive at all. I'm not sure how much this will cost later. But very importantly, the cold and lightning resistances on this ring are chosen particularly. we actually needed that particular setup, or it was very, very nice to have that. Why? Let me explain why. If you look at the helmet, then we have, from the unique item, we have fire and cold resistance. So that we have already these two stats. I think the mace, the mace gives fire resistance. Right? So we're starting off with unique items with some resistance. And this one gives cold resistance. So we have fire resistant covered, we have a little bit cold, and then fire cold again, right? So we pretty much have a lot of the resistances handled already. So we don't need to focus that much. But that's why I don't really have it on the ring. But there is one slot that you still need resistance, and that is lightning. Because with those items, we didn't cover any lightning resistance. And I chose my lightning resistance on the boots. Because usually boots are like, you need life, movement speed, and 3 more stats. It's 5 stat items. So I compromised in that item, so it's cheaper to have the resistance there, right? No other places on the rare items have resistances, elemental resistance. Okay. So moving on to boots. So basically just life, chaos resistance again, high roll. Try to get high roll so you can fit in your chaos resistance if you want to do it. All right, life, movement speed, chaos resistance, and then stat. And I have strength. Pretty cool. Nothing too crazy. I choose Enduring Cry as implicit, so I can. It goes to 6 seconds from. It was 8 seconds. I'm pretty sure. So it goes from 8 seconds to 6.6, right? Enduring Cry really good. We need that little bit of sustain, especially in some kind of boss fights and so on. Very, very nice for that cooldown recovery. I don't think there was anything that particularly good in other than that. So there's also the other implicit is increased action speed. You could also go for sapped ground to have higher crit chance, but to get putting together all of my flasks and everything, if I have everything up, I already have 90 to 100 crit chance. So I just opted out from that. I didn't think that was that efficient anymore, so I've just chose action speed, seemed better, right? Then the next item slot is gloves. As you see, have +2 strike targets. +1 is fine. I'm not sure if I actually need that +2. I haven't tested that out too much, but you can get away with +1. That's totally fine. You can get the other one from 3, right? And one particular specific thing about gloves is that I chose accuracy rating, prioritize this slot on the item, because gloves, pretty sure the only item that can roll +600 accuracy rating, right? All the other ones have 1 tier lower. They can go to 480 accuracy. Gloves are the only ones that go to 600, but they're hard to get because you need item level 85. But I went for it anyway, and with this I can drop some accuracy on implicit here. Basically, that's how it helps. Then gloves are one of the items that can get increased attack speed, good for damage. If you can get attack speed, highly recommended. And I went for reduced effect of chill and shock on you on gloves. What you can do how you can customize instead you can craft this. I don't think actually you can craft them. Where? Reduced effect of. Yeah, you can craft them in boots. Yeah, so you can do it on gloves like I did, or you can get the resistance or the stat somewhere else and craft this on the boots, and then you can get element immunity. Of course, I'm using, to get full element immunity, I'm using a reduced effect of chill from Brand King, and then Garu Han, whatever, reduced effect of shock, right? That's how I, those 3 pieces, element immunity, except ignite, of course, but I mean, ignite is like, who cares about ignite, right? Until you meet the guardian that ignites you, and then you fucked. Anyway, so you can do it on boots as well, or you can go very big brain and you can craft your boots so that you can get cannot be chilled and cannot be frozen as implicits. You can get those from whaled stuff, and then when you have those as implicit, you can get the 40% or something similar shock reduction on a jewel on the from a jewel. So you can also combine it that way. That's more efficient, but it's also more expensive. Didn't want to bother with that. Found a good gloves for cheap price. I was like, yeah, I have to go for this. So that's my ailment immunity. And it's also nice to have some actually armor on the gloves, you know, because we have the unbreakable ascendancy again from Juggernaut that helps us with that. Okay, so cover those three pieces. Next one is belt. A belt is a really big pain in the ass. I'm just gonna be really honest with you there. Why it's a big pain in the ass? Because you really like it's very efficient to buy a belt that has implicit with increased strength, dexterity, intelligence, right? Up to 13 to 50, right? You really want to buy that. So if you're buying that, you probably have to craft that stuff yourself. And crafting is a really, like, in order to craft this item, specific setup, is very expensive. The reason being that you need to craft with essences. There's no other way how to craft this belt without essences. Why? Because belts can only roll strength attribute. They can't roll any other attribute, and there are no other useful stats on a belt other than chaos resistance, strength, and there's nothing useful for this build anymore on the belt. Maybe you can do some flask stuff, but I mean, who cares? So in order to get a good explicit, you need to craft it essences so you can get slam on that intelligence or slam on that dexterity when you're crafting, right? So that's, and in order to roll your dexterity intelligence from essence, then strength, and then chaos resistant is just like so expensive. It's just like there's 0% chance you're gonna roll that. So what I did is I essence spammed the belt until I got tier 1 or tier 2 strength, and then suffixes cannot be changed, reroll chaos with harvest, right? Just put in harvest, reroll chaos, and you know, since chaos resistant is the only suffix on belt, it always rolled chaos resistant, but you know, there are 5 different tiers, I'm pretty sure. So there's 1 in 5 that you're gonna roll chaos resistance, right? So imagine how expensive that is. And after you rolled good suffixes, you also need to roll good prefixes. You know, you need to suffixes cannot be changed, and reforge life. And good luck not getting 3 modifiers. There's like 1 in 7 chance of getting tier 1 or tier 2 life. I got tier 3, I was like, I'm done with this shit. I was like, whatever, slammed the mana recovery rate. Very sad about that slam as well. And it's like, okay, I'm done. I didn't wanna bother anymore. I'll need to like have like 10 to 20 divines before I could reconsider continuing crafting this, and I'm done with this league, right? So you might also notice what I did is I got a belt that has +8 chaos resistance. That was super important for me. The increased elemental damage, got super lucky. Someone sold it. I got like for 10x, something like 10x, super good price. And then I got also the elemental damage. But that's a bonus, and it was very important to have the 8 on the belt, because as you can see, my chaos resistance is barely capped. Without the 8%, I'll be at 70, which is, I mean, you can run that. I guess it's fine, but you know, it's nice to be fully capped. So that's why I actually specifically looked for the 8% chaos resistance on the belt. So that's the belt, and then we get to our shield. I crafted this myself as well. A very, very similar pain in the ass like the belt. And the reason why I crafted this is because I really wanted that +2 minimum frenzy charges. There's no other good way to generate frenzy charges, especially when you're bossing with this build. So I actually went with the shield. Good damage increase from the frenzy charges. You could also use something like Blood Rage, I think the gem was called. But you know, you lose 4% life per second, and we don't have any good life regeneration in this build. And so it's a big pain. I didn't want to use it. It's very risky. I think it's it gives just so much less survivability if I use that, and I can just get +2, be fine with that. And the crafting process is a little bit similar as with the belt, but here we have a chance to roll both dexterity and strength attributes, right? So both of them are available for a armor and evasion shield base. Both of them are available, so it's easier to craft them. And you might have noticed that I'm using armor and evasion rating base, while armor is very good for me. The reason for that is because I wanted to have increased attack speed, and attack speed only rolls on evasion strength basis. Attack speed damage good, right? Makes sense. And also I think you could also roll only dexterity and strength on this base, so it was easier to craft, I guess, as well. But you know, if I think about it, you could probably get strength based shield, craft with an essence that gives dexterity or intelligence, and then instead of getting attack speed, you get chaos resistance and move something around. I guess you could technically do that. Also, the life is tier 3. It's not tier 2 is acceptable. Tier 3 is like, you know, tier 3 is like But you know, I was tired of this. I was just like not getting lucky. Tired of this as well. So I called it quits. I crafted this myself. And very similar. Got 2 attributes. Suffix is gonna be changed. Reforge speed. After I have suffix is gonna be changed. Reforge life, and then maybe slam or something. So that was the shield crafting process. Then moving on to helmet, which I actually didn't talk about. I skipped helmet. So welcome back to unique items. Let's talk about the helmet. Yeah, let's talk about helmet. So helmet doubles your damage. That's it. Great. Just doubles your damage because we freeze pretty much everything, you know. Glacial Hammer has every third successive strike freezes enemies as though dealing 400% more damage. So pretty much we're gonna freeze stuff. So if we're gonna freeze stuff, we're gonna do 100% cold damage as extra fire. Doubles or damage. Very, very good item. And you know, if you also chill, then it will also be additional more damage. And what's cool about this item is actually the mana regeneration. I didn't realize, but as you see, I have like no mana issues if I'm just where's my jump tree? Yeah, so I can move around and I don't have any mana issues without, right? It's hard to get or mana down, right? Of course, if I'm mapping, if I'm raged, if the speed is fast, that's a kind of problem, and we need leech, but the mana regeneration is actually pretty good. And if you wanna fit in all the auras, then you need the 90% reservation. Probably. I tried calculating other options, but I didn't find any. Before you have that helmet, actually it cost like 1 divine when I bought it. So might be a good idea to just get it early. You can also pick up nodes here on the tree. They're not really that efficient, but you know, you can solve the mana issues with picking these as well. That's what I did when I was starting off the build. Then we had the helmet, and I guess the only one that's left is flasks. Flasks, we have Oriats, and I don't recommend playing this build without it. Just don't play it. It's just explodey. It's just so good, man. It just doubles your clear speed pretty much. So if you get the flask, you can play this basically. And of course I played it, and I didn't have the flask for a while. I had omniscience and everything almost set up before I got the flask. Sure, but it just makes your life so much better and makes the builds feel so much better. So highly recommend. Then you know what, classic belt with corrupted with a bleeding removal and instant when on low on life. Very classic. Here we have reduced effect of curses, and I also did reduced duration and increased effect shenanigans. I thought 5 seconds is quite a long time. We can manage that. And here, of course, we have armor. We have armor flask, bigs for our survivability. And here also reduced effect, reduced duration, increased effect. So we get that more armor. And of course, bottled fate, high damage, 25% damage from this flask alone. Big deep. So totally worth it. I have good rolls on this as well, right? So that's about flasks. Then moving on to what we have on the tree, clustered jewels. Here I have a jewel that gives, what was important for me was life, chaos resistance. Those were two main things. Again, as you can see, I couldn't get more resistance with jewels. I actually needed that 8 on the belt. This is kind of already max from the jewel. And if I didn't have the lightning resistance, then lightning resistance would be kind of exactly what we need here. So you do need high roll lightning resistance to fit everything perfectly. And we have one good damage multiplier on. So I basically bought this and I slammed the lightning resistance, and I was like, it is what it is, right? So that's a jewel. The other jewel is this Watcher's Eye, and please pay attention. Very important. You need, or it's very, very strong to have the gain 24 life per enemy hit while affected by vitality. That's the number one way of sustaining life. Like if there's a lot of monsters going on, delirium for example, you can stand around and smash because you get a lot of life from this life on it. I wouldn't play it without it. I think it's very, very important. And that's why we also need the aura stuff, because I have level 1 vitality just so I can use this effect. And we have added cold damage. Like I said, if we add any damage, it gets doubled. Very efficient. Also, I forgot to mention why this specific mace is good with Glacial Hammer, because Glacial Hammer has 87 to 130 added cold damage inherently, right? So it kind of also synergizes with that. What? Okay, maybe some other day. Okay, so what else do we have? We have this jewel, very specific jewel that I got. You can use point of building to find similar jewels. I think this was like one of the best ones. I got it for 1 divine. What do we have in this jewel? Why did I pick it? So number one reason I picked it, because it gives increased strength, which is pretty cool. You know, attributes feel good. Then here I had the filler node, which is increased maximum life, which is really nice to have. And then 2 very important nodes. One of them is chance to intimidate enemies for 4 seconds on hit. Alright, that's the source of intimidation for this build. So now at this point, this jewel, okay, that's quite valuable, but the most important thing why I picked this jewel is attack damage leached as life. This jewel is the source where we leech our lives. And you might be asking, hey, but you can get the life leech on the jewel. Well, the thing is, we don't have any slots for that, because we're using both of the other ones already. So what do we have here? First of all, we have Overlord. This is very good, like probably the best cluster jewel node ever. I don't think there's any. I don't know any other. But I haven't played all the builds, every build, but I don't know any other better node than this. And yes, it's expensive to buy this, and yes, it's totally worth it. I've seen on PoE Ninja builds, I've seen other people going for the Fortify on the mace, you know, like 15% chance to fortify when you hit enemies on the mace. It's good. You can go for that. I just feel like I like more the consistency, that if I hit, then 100% I'm gonna get fortify. I really like that. And you know, you can get another stat that gives you more damage on here. And this, without the fortify, this cluster jewel node also gives 30% increased damage, which is also not bad. It's just good node even without the fortify. So it just made sense, a lot of sense to get this. Then, very important, crucial for the build is the mana leech on the field of fight. Before that, before getting the field of fight, I got my mana leech from a anoint, and I probably anointed something like I don't know, maybe this, or I think I anointed actually this one. Super cheap to anoint. You can I always start with this anoint on my league start with some kind of melee builds, right? Always go for that. So before that, I was using that. Now, when I got the mana, I could anoint. And I anointed this bad boy. Super good node. I think it was like 10% more damage. Or somewhere close. So very, very good anoint. So totally worth it to get this on the tree. And the last one is actually was important for me. I'm pretty sure I can't live without it. Let me see. We have 99% hit chance, right? So this caps out my hit chance. We have, of course, level 20 precision. I guess I have to talk about gems as well. But, you know, that we are cap our accuracy here. Then on these nodes, we have basics of pain, best damage slot. Then I have quick giveaway. This is not the best slot. The best one was precise retaliation. Let me check. I have that. No, I don't have that. So the best one is precise retaliation. Gives a little bit more damage. Basically, it gives 60% crit chance or crit multiplier if you have blocked recently. I picked this one because I'm not using Quicksilver. I thought that 5% movement speed could be nice. Maybe it's nice. The difference was like 1% damage. It's kind of insignificant as well. But kind of the main reason why I'm using these two jewels are because they're both corrupted. I bought these jewels so I could corrupt them. I was planning to get ailment immunity through them. But you know, I got reduced effect of curses on you. And I got another one that gives a reduced effect of curses on you, right? So that I was like, oh, good, like reduced curses, nice. Let's use them. And you might notice that I'm also having plus chaos resistance and plus chaos resistance on these as well, right? Remember, we were like 3% in. We have some of our chaos resistance here as well, so we can cap that out. And here I got somehow lucky, I guess, and got 6% lightning resistance, right? So our lightning resistance would be in trouble if I didn't get that, and my then I guess you could buy it on the tree, right? But if it's like 6 less, then it's like an iffy range. Or I mean, if you range, you kind of have the flask here that gives elemental resistances, but I did die once because I was I think scorched, that gives 30% negative elemental resistances. I died once because of that, and my flask was probably not up. So you know, it's nice to have the resistance there. And then of course we have the forbidden flesh and forbidden flame in jewels, right? One good reason why to get cluster jewels, it's really nice that you have 2 extra jewel sockets. We're kind of short on them because, you know, we're using Little Pride. 2 of them are forbidden stuff. And we have the Watcher's Eye. This one, right? So we have Watcher's Eye, which just leaves us with 1 jewel slot empty if you have all of that. So what's up with my... please do not disturb me. I don't want to be disturbed. Ooh, someone bought this. Okay. Alright, so that's about it, and my relic is complete dog shit probably compared to what you can get, just attack speed basically for damage. Before that I was using chaos resistance relic because my chaos resistance was not capped, but you know, now I capped my chaos resistance and I don't need that anymore. I guess let's talk about the jewels then. What's my jewel setup? So we have Berserk. A lot of times I was considering getting rid of it because it kind of feels bad when you don't have rage anymore. Custom damage taken, Molten Shell, very simple. Then here we have all our auras, of course, Precision 20, Determination, Hatred, and Herald of Ice. I should have 21 Herald of Ice. Why have 20? That's kind of lame. Then we have Mark on Head with Assassin's Mark. We don't really have, we can't really have anything else that's good actually on, because we can't really have any curses because we are using Omniscience and we don't like reduced elemental resistances don't help us. And also, you know, Mark on Head for a single target. Then life tap, so we can activate. I can save our mana because it does cost quite a lot of mana, like 190. If you remove that, how much does that? Then it costs 66 mana, right? 60. We can't trigger Assassin's Mark if we don't use the life tap here, right? Then here I have Glow's Vitality, and you know, it would be nice to put all together, but it means Vitality very low. Then we have multiple totems, and the reason why I have multiple totems, kind of the main reason, is actually so that I can place totems faster. Yes, faster. The quality gives increased totem placement speed. That's kind of the main reason why I used multiple totems. I was using actually one totem for a long time, but then I started doing simulacrums, and I was like, I had to kill Colossus, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put on the other one because it's kind of like you have to place both of them, right? Then I'm using Ancestral War Chief, and I'm using Anomalous ones. The reason why I'm using the Anomalous ones, because again, increased totem placement speed, so we can just place totems and move on like super fast. Broop, broop, right? Yeah. And also Anomalous Ancestral Protector, also totem placement speed, so that don't, because like it's so annoying to use totems if they're slowly to place. You might as well just hit something and kill it, right? So, but if it's fast, it feels good, right? Those are those sockets. Then we have Leap Slam with faster attacks, very classic. Divergent Floss Blink. Why did I pick Divergent? I guess more cooldown recovery or something. But you know, I use Frost Blink super good. I'll probably use it more in the future. The reason is because I can smash something, boom, and I just click it and continue smashing. There's no interruption, right? And it's super nice if you like meleeing someone and you see that monster is like, oh, he's doing his slam or something. You're just like, whoop. Whoop. I don't have mana for that. It's not working, guys. It's not working. I mean, I can just click and quickly and continue slashing. I don't need to worry about interruptions when using other movement skills. And then for our main is Glacial Hammer, elemental damage attacks. That's core. You can get Awakened, but I didn't bother. Awakened added cold damage, super high damage because we double our added damage. Very important to have Awakened here. Then Awakened Multi-Strike, you can get regular Multi-Strike. Awakened is like 10% more damage. But you know, we want to attack fast and do big hits and stuff. And then 2 EFE gems, you can change these around a little bit. Is increased critical strikes and inspiration. You can try to use Ruthless. That will be pretty good. I think more damage than both of these two. The reason why I didn't go for Ruthless because I wanted to damage consistency in the damage. You know, because for example in these Sanctums, it's nice when you hit, then something is frozen and chilled, right away. So I opted more for consistency, and in order to have more consistency, both of these gems give more critical strike chance, right? Because critical strike multiplier, it gives more damage, but critical strikes gives more consistency. And I opted for consistency. The damage was like 2-3% maybe difference, so I'd rather pick consistency over 2-3% more damage, right? So you can put in critical strike multiplier, and in this instead of this you could use the rootless. That will give a little bit more damage, but you have to, I'm pretty sure that if you want to get take inspiration out, you would need to have a free prefix on your ring, so you can craft reduced mana cost of attacks or whatever was it, right? You need to craft that, then you would have 7 less mana cost, and then you could use some kind of other gem other than inspiration. But I don't have a free prefix, which is totally fine, so that's why I'm using inspiration. Not a huge difference, but that's what I'm using. All right, next up, let's go over the skill tree. Why we're going here. So starting off, whatever you pick life, what's here, then we come here. Very important, our elemental resistances. One side note, when I was leveling the build, I actually picked these nodes because I was like ground slam something leveling. Maybe you probably know how to level characters better than me, but I picked those nodes at the beginning, so I just have damage, because we don't have like any damage nodes up until here, so you're kind of starving from that. So our elemental resistance is very efficient together with our armor ascendancy. Picking up Cluster Jewel, crucial. Inherit loss of rage is slower. Very good to keep up the rage, more rage. Very important. Here we pick up life, of course. This node, precision has increased mana reservation efficiency, so you're pretty much gonna always pick this up, right? And it gives accuracy rating. One of the ways we cap our accuracy. Then you come in here. This is not really that efficient. These 3 points are like kind of but as you can see, I need that, what's like 10 elemental resistances. They are definitely helpful, because I'm kind of barely making it into the threshold of safe elemental resistances. But I've seen imbalanced guard, the steel mace duo from balanced guard. You can put that in and pick these 2 nodes if you want to save some nodes in the tree. I thought it's good to have these, and didn't make sense for that. Then splash, the new tree node, melee splash. Tribal Fury, yeah, just pick it, and that's how we do our melee splash. And at the same time you can get strike targets and I guess strike range, which is like not that efficient. Call to arms, so we get our enduring cry, life, of course. What do we have here actually? Plus life, nice. Determination has increased mana reservation efficiency. Our cluster jewel, of course, pick life. Regeneration, oh, we're missing regeneration so much, so this is kind of good. Very high damage. I went this way, so we get a little bit more damage. Super good node. I think this is like 3% damage. Right. Yeah, it's just like 3% damage. So very good to pick this up. And I picked crit multiplier against unique enemies. Then Divine Shield. You might looking at this like, bro, you don't have no energy shield. Why are you taking this? Doesn't make any sense. You have 25 energy shield, right? Well, the thing is that I'm pretty sure, like maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but energy shield regeneration is not removed when your energy shield is full, right? I'm pretty sure that's the case. So our 25 energy shield turns into a very strong regeneration when we are in middle of like a delirium pack ritual. Everyone's hitting us, and there's like a degeneration ground. This helps not with big hits, but this helps with our regeneration. That's why I have picked this node. I'm pretty sure that this 25 energy shield is super defensive when it comes to degenerations, right? So I think this is very strong. But you correct me if I'm wrong here. Then we come here for damage life, whatever. These nodes actually they're not that efficient. You might want to go for like something like these crit chances, if you can. Oh, and I missed this one. Super efficient to pick this one. I just don't have enough skill points, and everything else seems much better than this. So I haven't picked this, but definitely a really good pickup. And you could drop these nodes to pick that up, I think. But, you know, these are crucial because it gives life leech and it gives attributes here. So, you know, kind of, it's pretty good. And it also gives the explosion. I'm pretty sure it gives the explosion more damage because it's elemental damage. It's always going to give more, right? So explosions probably give more damage. Here, of course, crucial, mana reservation efficiency, life, and since we're using mace, really good to come here, pick that up. Here, of course, like I showed, Overlord, damage, accuracy rating, mana leech. That's it about the skill tree, and I think I covered everything. So if you have any other questions of the build, you want to see me doing some kind of content or anything else, let me know. I'm done probably with the league, but you know, I can still make some content. Good note, I have saved my Atlas trees that I've done before I switched to cluster jewels, before and after I switched to cluster jewels, before and after I had Omni, and I had also some starting tree that I had prepared in my mind when I started the league. So I'll link all of that into the description. Keep in mind that this was when I was still trying to figure out how the build works and planning out, so it might be not maybe super accurate, but you can still find pretty good information here on how I approached, right? Because with this build I farmed my omniscience. This was my setup, and for example, I had added physical damage, added cold damage on my amulet, and it's really good actually. Any added damage is just really good. Feels good for it's just 9% more damage just from those. And I guess crit chance as well. Did I had crit? Yeah, I still had crit, but you know, you can get some ideas here. And like I said, yeah, I just tried to get more as much added damage as I possibly can. Here, for example, on the ring as well, added cold damage to attacks. Just specifically looked for that as well. That's it for the video. Have a good weekend when you have a weekend. That's it. If you have, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. Peace, I'm outie. You.